want to show you guys here. We're going to walk the spider gauntlet. This is our walk every morning. You see this little guy here? You see how you could barely see him? That's a spider. She's sitting on her web. This web, you can see it a little bit, barely. See that? This web spans between these two trees, and I'm going to show you here. I'm just showing you a little. You can see the web, barely, but that doesn't matter. I'll show you better later. This span between these two trees here, that's how big the web is. So I'll just be walking along, following Jack. Here's another one. This is not the same one. Between two other trees. Can't see it. Can't see it till you face plant. And you see how it's head height? It's literally right exactly where your face is. That's a spider sitting on her web, a different one between these two trees. That's, I mean, this is a 8-foot span between the trees maybe. Because if I laid down on the ground between them, I wouldn't be able to touch them. So they're more than 6 feet apart. I'm not 6 feet tall. Yeah. And the web, the actual circle of the web may not be, I think they're probably about 4 feet, 3 or 4 feet. But Jack will just be running through, so he'll run right through here, and I'm just following him, and then I face plant. And here's one that you can clearly see. This is the third or fourth one I've seen this morning, and this is a small one. Okay, this one's probably about 3 feet wide, a small one. But the thing of it is you see they're anchored. Even if they're small like this, or if they're big, 4 or 5 feet wide, they're still anchored with like one string. You know, if you see it here, there's one string anchored on the ground, another string anchored on the ground, and then the 2 strings that go up that anchor them on the top. So even if you happen to miss the web, you're going between 2 trees, and there's a 7-foot span between the trees. Here's another one that I happen to see from the side. See it? I would have face planted into that. I literally have to stop between every tree. So you may only hit the string that is the anchor and not actually walk into the whole web, but that pulls the web onto you, and it's on your head, your face. Where's the spider? You've seen that there's a spider sitting in every one of these webs. Obviously, they're not just fake. There's a real spider on all of them. So yeah, I wanted to show you guys what I had described to you about the face plant. This is another web. There's usually a web here between this tree and this post, and I have face planted here before, so I have to stop and look from the side, look from the left and the right, and then I want to show you when I always tell you guys there's a farm next door to me. I'm standing on their property right now, so this is the farm that's next door, and that's their outbuildings over there. And then across the street there, where there's going to be a car coming by right here, on the other side of that car is where the cows are, and that's across the street from me. Just to orient you guys for about, like regarding all the things I tell you. This is our walk we take every morning, and I'm heading into the woods that are behind my house. And yeah, I just want to show you how dirty my shoes get every single morning. I love it. I love living here. Absolutely love it. But yeah, the spider gauntlet is very real. I was just gesturing to show you guys these are the trees that the webs are between. So here we come walking out, and there could be webs between those two. There could be webs between, like, it doesn't matter which way Jack goes. Right here, when he's going to go between this post and this tree, there could be a web there. So I have to slow him down and really check. And Ness keeps this all mode, as you can see. So it's easier for us to walk back here. But the spiders still, you know, each night build their webs there. And those, I've looked it up, and they're just a garden spider, which are excellent for insects. So I don't care that they're there. I like that they're there. I don't try to kill them or get rid of them or anything like that. They're welcome, obviously, to be there. But I'm not going to be doing any more face planting. I have figured out how to, like, where they usually are, because the first few times it just startled me. It's something new. I've been here a year and never face planted into a web until I started talking to you guys about it, like, last week. And then it was every single morning face plant. Like, oh my gosh, okay, I got the spider web, so let me keep walking, because that was awful. And then boom, it would happen again. And yeah, so I just wanted to show you, these are the start of the woods that are behind our house right here. Again, with all the webs. And you can actually see the mower tracks where Ness like mows us a trail through here. If she's done the mower the same day, I won't have to worry about webs. But overnight, they'll build them up again. And so this is just coming up into our backyard. And there's always a web between these two trees right here. So I always have to stop when I'm going under this little area. Here is one of the funnel spiders I showed you guys last video, just to orient you guys like where they are. And I don't know why I look off to the side there, sorry, but there's always 100% of the time a web between this fence and this tree I just walked under. And then here to the left is like the entrance that we usually go into the woods. This is the porch, the screened-in porch I'm always sitting on. So I'm usually facing the woods. And this patch of grass here and the woods behind us, this is where the coyote comes. Literally right there. Just wanted to orient you guys and share that. Jack says thank you for walking with us. And we do that every morning and every night. Sometimes in the afternoon too. So getting into the nails. Well, first of all, welcome to my channel. If you're new, welcome back if you're returning. Hi, you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me. And let's do some nails. So I have on some VBP extra long. They don't go by 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3XL. Their tips just say extra long. So Valentino extra long stilettos. I'm going to speed this up right here. Craftsxnine and Zule's stilettos are kind of my favorite for their length because they're so long. But for a set that, I don't want to say average in length either because the average nails are not this long. I guess for a set that isn't super, super dramatic and I don't want to be super long, I always use these VBP. Also, what I really love the Craftsxnine and Zule super long, like they're 4 or 5XL stilettos, is because when you clip them off, they make the most perfect coffin with just the very tip of the stiletto cut off. It makes just the most narrow ballerina coffin. I love those. So sometimes when you see me using a coffin, I've been actually using like a Zule tip, a Zule stiletto. So I told you guys in my last video, or maybe a couple videos, that I'm loving being able to use deep, rich colors, dark colors. I don't want to say I love fall. It's a beautiful season, but spring is my favorite season. But this color, like, come on. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And I do mention, I think, a couple of times, just like in the notes on the screen, because it strikes me every time I use one of NOTPOLISH's pigment colors. Pigment meaning, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's typically, the way acrylics used to be set up, you have your white, you have your clear, you have your pink, and then pink, white, and clear was like, were the colors that you used when you did acrylics, and then everything else was air dry lacquer after that. Then they got into some colored acrylics, but colored acrylics were always called pigments, and there wasn't any acrylic in it. Maybe a little bit of clear or white, but only enough to like make it not a straight pigment and hold it together a little bit, and you would literally just get that color on in the thinnest layer on your nail and then cap and clear. So your acrylic and your nail would be formed with clear acrylic. Then they came out with cover colors, meaning the acrylic, because anytime you take like clear acrylic and add a pigment to it, it changes its consistency, its strength. It weakens the strength. It becomes not as strong as just plain clear. So what NOTPOLISH did that revolutionized things, and people have caught on and started doing it themselves, was made their pigment colored acrylics buildable, and that's what I mean by that. So when I say that sometimes, so it used to be that you would get a cover acrylic if the jar said cover on it. Like Kairose was one of the companies, VBP was one of the companies that were doing this before they kind of made some changes, I think, to kind of follow NOTPOLISH. Maybe NOTPOLISH isn't the one that came up with it, but for me, that's when I noticed a big change in like how acrylics were used and stuff like that. So a cover color could be built. In other words, you could make layers and layers and build your whole nail with the cover color and not have to cap and clear, because the amount of pigment that was in the cover was either slight enough, because they would usually be like a baby pink or a really, really light brown nude. And so they wouldn't have as much pigment in it to where the acrylic would be weak. And those were being built with a white acrylic as their base. And then NOTPOLISH came out with, let's put as much pigment as will stand in an acrylic and make them super highly pigmented, but mix them with clear and blend the ever-loving you-know-what out of them, and keep blending and keep blending and keep blending them until they're literally butter and smooth, and we have the right consistency. And then you can build your nail with colored acrylics without having to use clear. You don't have to cap and clear if you don't want to. You can still use it like you may have been taught in school to use a pigment. Use it thin, also to save money, so you don't have to go through your pigments as quick, because usually a jar of clear comes in a larger container and you have more of it, and it's, well, I was going to say it's usually cheaper, but it's not anymore. Usually people are just selling jars of acrylic, like the clear is the same price as the pigment. So when I say pigments, when I get to use my pigmented colors, I'm kind of using a hybrid word of how things used to be looked at in the industry, I guess. But with NOTPOLISH, it's just an acrylic. But they're colored acrylics is what I was getting at. When I get to use them, of course I can use blue, yellow, pastels, summer bright colors. But when I get to fall, and I get to use deep burgundies, deep reds like this, oh my gosh, the thing of it is they operate so much better, in my opinion, than even just a clear. I mean, look at this. It's like you can't go wrong. The only thing that happens is if you get it close to your skin and don't wipe it off in a timely manner, it can stain a little bit. You just get a little bit of alcohol when it dries and take it off. It's not a big deal. I used to think that it was staining the nail bed. Yeah, that's what I was telling you guys here. It's just perfection. I mean, look at this. This couldn't be any easier. It's literally butter, just like they advertise, and I love this time of year because I get to use these. And like I said, of course, we use bright colors during summer and pastels during spring, and it is the same thing. They're buildable colors, but I don't know, something about fall with these rich colors. I just did a set a couple days ago where I used their color Ultraviolet, and I had told you guys I wanted in my last video that I've been wanting to use my really rich, deep purple grays, and I had said hug me now, so I grabbed my hug me now. That's literally what I was going to use in my next set. I grabbed it down off the shelf, and I found another purple next to it called Ultraviolet that I've literally never used before. I've used hug me now before multiple times. If you guys know NOTPOLISH, you know what colors I'm talking about. If you don't, you'll see it in my next video. Not in my next video. I have 4 or 5 videos before that, but you'll see it coming up. It's a deep, 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 rich gray purple. And the Ultraviolet is dark. It almost looks, it looks like you're using a gray, until you notice, oh my gosh, no, 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 that is a purple. Look at this. Do you see this? It looks like it's going to behave like any other pigment, like maybe a dynamic color where you put it on the nail and it's not going to behave like a bead. It's going to, like, you see how when I touch the edges of this with monomer, with my wet brush, it melts into it and lets me move it all in one piece. If you have a really subpar product, Dynamic comes to mind because I can think of one time when I used one of their colors and I put a big old bead on like that, and it won't melt. It won't let you add monomer and start moving it around and manipulating it and pulling and dragging it down. It just scoots across the nail in that same bead that you laid. And if you try to smooth it out, it separates, and it's like, look at this. Look at that. It's, yeah, I just want to go sit down right now and do some more nails with some really deep, rich, not polished colors. Yep, this acrylic. One thing I wanted to mention about this set in particular, I like my stilettos super narrow, super sharp, actually injure you, hurt you, poke a hole in you, make you bleed, like this that you see here. And since I don't have to cap, this right here could basically have been my last bead. In other words, the nail has its shape, its form. Also, these are pop-off. They're for content, so they don't need to have a certain thickness. They don't need to have even an apex. They just need to look right. Like my thumb right there, finished. Don't need to do anything but file. But I don't know why, but it seems like sometimes you'll see, especially on the pinky, seems like sometimes I don't have enough acrylic. Like the nail is covered and the shape is there because following the shape of the tip, I have my nail, right? But it just sometimes seems to me that if I don't add more and then get my shape by filing it down, that I don't have the shape I want. I don't know why. So yeah, you guys will see me lobbing this on. I'm not done after this. I go in for a second round, and it could be, like, do you see how thin? So look at the nail that's already formed that's closer to the camera, the middle finger that I just finished. I feel like if I file that, I'm going to have no acrylic left. Where it is in the body of the nail, like up in the apex and the cuticle area, I'm good. But the body of the nail is way too thin and narrow. There's not enough acrylic there. So when I add more there, I have to add more to the rest of it. That's what I feel like. And so then what that started looking like were the stilettos that I see a lot of people do that are kind of almost rounded at the end and almost maybe a little bit almond. So these turned out a different shape than I normally would make, but I actually liked them. So they weren't my razor cut sharp stilettos that I usually do, but I loved this set. And so yeah, I was happy with the way it looked. But you can see too, I'm going back in and covering the sides a little bit of this middle finger, but you can see the finger I just laid, the ring finger. That's just way too thin. And once I start thickening it up, then, like I said, I have to add more to make the nail look right. So yeah, you'll see me doing that. And I actually cut some of it out because I was like, Jen, you're really putting more acrylic on that nail? So I think I had more on even than I showed you guys, but trust me, every minute of the application was a pleasure, as you can see. And I feel like this acrylic, like sometimes when I look down at my napkin, when there's a couple of blobs there, it looks like blood, like a clot of blood. Like this is really like a blood color. It's so beautiful. A true red, but it kind of has like a little bit of like brick to it. I don't know. But it's just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I have several different reds from them, and I have a lot of Halloween sets in mind. Like, look here. See, this is a perfect example of this pinky. The nail is covered. But if I don't go in with clear, like, there's no shape to this. There is absolutely no form to this nail. When I put on the apex and cuticle bead, it will be a little bit better. But leaving them this narrow, like the tip is, adhering to the tip shape and keeping them this sharp, there'll be nothing to the nail, and it will kind of look a little bit strange. So here's where I'm going to go in and thicken them up, by the way. Yeah, I have a lot of beautiful reds that I want to do a red set right now, and then I want to do a burgundy set, and like a deep wine brown, if you know what I mean, like where a wine color has a lot of brown in it. Oh, it's just my favorite time of year to be able to use these colors. So you guys, I have some galaxy nails for you guys. I have, I think, 2 Halloween sets and something else. I don't remember. But there are 5 videos in the queue after this. And if I do those videos, it'll be 3 weeks before I need to do any more nails to make content. And I am not going 2 weeks without doing nails. So by the time you see me in the next video, I'll probably have 2 more sets for you guys. So, like I mentioned in my last video, and maybe even the video before, I am back. Thursday, Sundays, I'll see you guys. So, yay. Yay to that. What else was I going to say? Oh, a couple of the sets that I have, I've been posting them out of order because either the video is shorter, easier to edit, or I like the nails better, or whatever. But there's 1 or 2 sets still in my queue of videos that I'm in the middle of editing that I did when my hand was still damaged. So of course I'll explain that when the time comes. But if you're new here, I did have an episode where I did some nerve damage to my hand, and thankfully it is back. And by the way, in case I didn't tell you guys, because I was updating you guys very, very thoroughly about my hand, but it's back 100%. I can't tell anything was ever wrong. Maybe I think the last time I might have updated you guys, it was like 99%, and I was still noticing some strength issues, and maybe my hand feeling like I was going to drop things when I picked something up at a certain angle, like a carton of milk. If I'm holding it and I want to reach and set it on the counter, I feel like I'm going to drop it, but I don't. Well, that's gone. Even that's gone. It's like nothing ever happened to my hand. It's just completely, I am so thankful, so fortunate, so lucky, so glad about that. Also, I did go to my doctor for the follow-up visit, where she did tell me herself that I have no, she can't say I have no blood clots because they didn't ultrasound my entire body, but where the blood clot was that we knew about is completely gone, completely clear, and I am cleared for surgery. So I'm going to go get this hernia taken care of. That appointment is the 14th, where I go for intake, to like start to meet the doctor, and then he'll put me through whatever tests he wants to put me through. But that is next. Thank goodness. That is the most major issue that I have in my life, is that terrible hernia. And so, yeah, I'm on the mend, you guys. And yesterday we got all of the windows installed in our new house. They are gorgeous. The house is coming together. The kitchen is all but done. So right now it's ceilings, walls, painting, and then floors. And then it's going to be December or January that we move in. So that's going to be nice. And out of the 3 bedrooms, we are not going to, at this time, redo or rip apart or start any construction on the master bedroom or the nail room. Ness works from home, I'd say 99% of the time. They'll call her if they have some kind of issue or testing has gone wrong or something, and she needs to go on site and do whatever she does there. It'll be too hard to explain. But so she needs a nice office to work in where she can close the door and have peace and, all of that. So out of the 3 bedrooms, one of them, we completely took the walls down to the frame, redid the drywall, and we'll paint and everything. And then the second spare bedroom I'll use for a nail room. Right now it was a little boy's room, so it's painted a dark blue. And with that horrible wood paneling on the bottom half of the walls. But I just told her, like, let's just move in. I don't care. At some point after we are already living here, 1 or 2 years down the road or 2 months down the road, whenever it happens, we'll fix this room. But in the meantime, I had wanted and learned that the darker and flatter, meaning not glossy or shiny, walls that you have when you're recording, the better your lighting will be. Like any studio that you go in, either the backdrop is dark, the ceilings are dark. It is the best for not reflecting or bouncing light around to have any shiny walls, any glossy walls, and the darker the better, because the light will not bounce around. Light is like that. I don't know the specific scientific way to say it, but light bounces around. I do want to mention that I did, before this video, and I cut it out because the video was already long, show you guys how I figured out what nude to use that would cover this red. But I do have a video coming up, I think it's the Galaxy nails, perhaps, where I show you my creative process, because I know you guys like to see that. I also have some swatching. I know this is way off topic, but I just wanted to mention it while I'm thinking of it. I'm going to kind of put some unboxings in the beginning of videos, so there's not a video that's just unboxing and no nails, if that makes sense. Of course it makes sense. Why do I say that? So these ombres are not the best, and I don't care, because I'm putting 3D flowers on these, or 3D leaves, fall leaves. So I'm not even trying to make these ombres look right, just FYI. Also, when you put a bead of clear right over your ombre, if you put the bead of clear just a little bit dense and not super wet, it will stay cloudy and kind of blur out your ombre. That's a little trick. which I can explain better if no one understands what I mean by that, but it's kind of a trick. So anyway, I'm not trying super hard. You can see how thick these nails are, but they're going to be perfectly shaped when I'm done. Let's see, what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, so we're leaving the nail room the same, and hopefully it's hideous. It's absolutely hideous. And there will be a video where I show you guys from A to Z our house remodel. I may shorten it quite a bit and just do clips and put it at the beginning of a nail video so you guys don't have to watch the house remodel. Or I may do it like my nail room tour where it's just a video about that. But we'll see how much footage I end up having when we're done. Master bedroom and the bathrooms, we are not... Okay, real quick. You see how I left this bead quite dense instead of a small wet bead? And I'm leaving the bulk of the dense bead right on top of that ombre. That will blur it out because the bead, the clear, if it is not a wet runny bead, will stay cloudy. That's the best way to say it. So you see how I'm doing that? So when the clear dries, that little bit of cloudiness will be over the ombre and kind of blur it out a little bit. You can kind of already see here what I mean by that. That's a little trick if your ombres aren't perfect or if you're trying to do an ombre on a really dark color like this. Once I file, that does come down. Now, I wanted to show you this. That set that V did on her channel, did you see that strawberry nail I just showed you? That was one I didn't try very hard on. I just wanted to see if I had the products, if I could kind of make it happen. So I real quick did it on a swatch stick. And that's what I laid this set for. That's why I grabbed this color. I actually got strawberries out of my fridge and looked through all of my red swatches and literally held them up against a ripe strawberry to see which one matched the best. And I'm probably looking at this color, you wouldn't think it is the closest to a strawberry, but it is. So even though that clip went by really quick, I did want to show you that that was initially what I thought I was going to make, were those strawberry nails. But once I got this acrylic laid, it just, I don't know, I wanted to use some other fall colors. I wanted to get out my oranges and yellows, and yeah, so I decided to just, plus I put matte on. The reason why I put matte on these nails is because then I was going to go in with the nail art that she had there, and you put matte on first. Once I had them matte and once I had them done, I just thought, if I just put a few fall leaves on these, how beautiful would that be? And they would just be simple. And even though that set that V did was so cute and I was able to recreate it as far as like whipping it out on a swatch stick, I would have had to try really hard to make them look anything close to hers, because she is so much better at doing like fine lines and making her work small and detailed, where mine comes out more bulky because I'm just not good at that yet. I don't have enough practice at like doing that kind of thing. So I kind of felt like my nails, doing the strawberry, I could quote unquote make it, like recreate it, but I felt like they would look thick and bulky and gloopy, like the swatch stick I did. Once I had the top coat on and had the 3D gel that she used, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I'll link the video in this description box, by the way. Just so if you guys, any of you aren't turned on to V, number one, you can be. Go watch that video. And then just to be able to refer to what I'm talking to if you haven't seen the video or don't know what I mean, I'll link it in the description box. But she made them look pretty, but after she was done doing the whole design, she really, really put top coat on it to seal everything in. And I feel like when I do that, it just looks like a big gloop. Even when I try to do it thin, I don't know. So I just felt like this set, after I got the matte on, I was like, oh no, I have to leave the matte. I don't want to put gloopy, shiny top coat on top of it. I'm a matte girl all the way. I would do almost every set matte anyway. So yeah, that's what made me completely change my design and my idea. But I was happy to use these colors. Like, look at this green, the orange, the cinnamon color. Oh my goodness. So I'm so glad it's fall. I'm going to be busting out sets for you guys, for real. I think I was going to say one more thing. Oh yeah, the master bedroom and both bathrooms, back to the house thing. We are not touching those. The bathrooms, I wouldn't say need, they're completely functional. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the master bedroom or both bathrooms. But they need to be updated. The cabinets are from the 80s, solid, hardcore all the way. 80s cabinets. The cabinets don't close. They kind of hang open. The sink, the mirror is like in a thick wood frame, if you know what I'm talking about. So, updating is what they all need. And the showers, both showers are those kind of tan, but not white, but not cream fiberglass inserts. And we kind of, would prefer to have tile or something nicer. So when we have the gumption after getting through all of this, we will update the other two bedrooms, the master, the nail room, and the 2 bathrooms after we're living there, like over time. So we decided not to touch those at all, except flooring. We are putting new flooring throughout the entire house. So those floors will be new in each room, but that's about it. So yeah, that's what's going on with me. Got you guys caught up, pretty sure. Well, we got to take Jack to the vet today because he's been itching like a fiend. The past 3 days we've been noticing, like, why is he itching so much? And he's got really short hair and no hair, on the bottom half of his body, his belly. He's just a really short hair, almost no hair dog. So we've inspected him head to toe. We've given him oatmeal baths. We've completely taken away any food that isn't just his regular kibble and his one treat that he's been eating for 2 years that we've had him. Just to make sure, like, it's not an allergy, it's not a new food, there's no ticks, there's no fleas. We've inspected him head to toe. We don't know what it is, so we're taking him to the vet today to see why he's itching so much, the poor baby. So I don't know what we'll find out. Probably he's got some kind of allergy, because, again, I don't see any bugs. But there could be, like I said, we walk through the forest. Now, I had stopped walking him twice a day through the forest this whole summer, because it's just been way too hot. Not only has it been way too hot, there's just way too many mosquitoes, even if you put on spray, biting flies. And I may have on spray and be protected, but the flies get all over him and stuff. So, yeah, so for the past 3 or 4 months, I haven't taken him in the woods at all. And the only thing that we've been doing new or different since this itching started is consistently walking him in those woods. So I feel like it could be he's allergic to something. It could be a seasonal allergy. He could have walked through something that irritated him. I know the poison ivy and poison oak that's around here, I can clearly see it and I avoid it, but he may blaze right through it that I don't catch or notice. And I don't know if dogs can get it. I've heard that they can't, but it's an oil from the plant that seeps into your skin, which is why it's so bothersome. So and like I said, he's got hardly any hair, especially on his belly and legs, which would be exactly what would be going through that. And he's low to the ground. So I just feel like it probably has something to do with the forest, and it could be some kind of little mites or something that we can't see. I don't know. So, but for the past few days, the poor little guy's been itching like crazy, and I don't want him to start developing any sores and plus I want him to not be miserable and itching. I want to find out what it is. So another thing I really love about living here is in Tucson, had I called my pet's vet and said that there was something like this going on, it would have been at least 3 months before I could get an appointment. At least 6 weeks, something like that. And you would have to end up taking your animal to an emergency vet, and paying thousands of dollars more because it's an emergency situation. You will not get in to see your vet or your own primary care doctor unless it's a regularly scheduled, like twice a year visit that you've been on the books for that for a long time. Anything else is considered an emergency. You have to go. If you get, back in the day, if I get bronchitis during cold and flu season, I'd call my doctor and get in within 24 hours and get some antibiotics and be good. No. You call up your doctor or the vet or anything like that, and like I said, it's 6 weeks to 3 month wait. Anyway, so we called yesterday, and they are getting him in today at 4. I love that. I absolutely love that. And when we call, they know, what's up with Jack? What's up? What's going on with the little buddy? Like, they remember. And the vet answers the phone. Not some person that doesn't know what they're talking about, I just love it. I love it. Sorry about the traffic noise, you guys. It's always some kind of noise. But I can't go in the house and do my voiceover because Ness is working in there. Plus, I feel weird. If you guys make content, I've talked about this before, but I feel super weird. I don't feel weird talking to you guys. I'm just sitting here by myself, literally talking to the air and or my screen. And you guys will hear it later. I don't feel weird doing that. Strangely enough, that's not weird to me. But if someone's overhearing me do my voicemail, no, I'll click stop right away and like wait for them to leave or whatever. I don't know. It's so awkward. But yeah, so regarding these leaves, I did go out to my yard and see and find some actual fall leaves, which I think I had in my last video. It's either in this video or the last video. Pardon me, you guys. And right here I'm just testing which liner I want to use because I just wanted to add a little bit of an accent to these nails because I felt they were gorgeous but a little bit plain. So yeah. And what was my point about that? Oh, I was actually looking at real leaves to kind of get the shape that I wanted here. And it didn't always work out 100%. But I did put a little bit of acetone in my monomer to make them dry quicker. And then these are not easy to make. Those maple leaves that you see people like V, for example, just you saw when I was trying to like lay down a leaf and then like split it into lay down like a flower petal. And then you take the bottom half, the bottom part of the petal and split it into 3 parts and spread them out to make that maple leaf kind of point. That is not easy to do. So I ended up just making like regular leaf shapes and not as many maple leaves as I wanted. I kind of wanted them to all be maple leaves but different colors, and that just was not working. This was the liner I chose, and I just wanted to add a couple of cuffs here and there. So I added a cuff here, a cuff on the pinky, and the cuff on the pinky was just a cuff, meaning an outline around the edge, not a Frenchie. So I did want to clarify that because I was not doing a Frenchie on the pinky. I just wanted a little bit of like a thick outline. There you go, a thick outline. And then I've been asked this question before, and I've actually asked Zule this question one time because it's relevant. But Zule makes content. This is my first dapping dish, you guys. So these stones right here, this is what I'm getting at. I wanted to use some golden shadow, and I knew that I had golden shadow in here instead of getting out new ones. And this is what I'm getting at here is that Zule makes so many sets. Like I could never be as creative as her and pound out the sets like she does. Literally 1 or 2 a day. And she uses very, very fine crystals. But they're all pop-off sets. And so I did ask her one time, do you reuse your crystals? Because if you can pop them off, if they're good quality, you can pop them off and they look like they haven't been used. If you haven't gotten any top coat on them, when you pop them off, if you only use a little bit of glue to adhere them, they pop right off. And the backing should not stay stuck to the glue if they're a good crystal. Like you can see these crystals laying on my table here. The backing is all still on them. And if you have like a really bad quality crystal or a glass crystal or you know, a fake fiberglass or whatever they use that are fake, the backing will stick to the glue, and you'll have a crystal that has like part of the backing still stuck to the glue and part of it is still on, and you can't really use that because it ruins the facets and the way the light shines on it and everything. But with these Bluestreak crystals, I do, whenever I clip off a set, either before or after, I remove every single crystal that I use because I do have these nice Bluestreak crystals now. So I pop them all off and I'll keep them in my little dapping dish right here. So this assortment, this weird assortment of crystals that you see here are ones that I have used in sets and popped off and just haven't put them back where they go. So I haven't felt like getting out all of my crystal sets and putting the blue with the blue, the golden shadow with the golden shadow, etc. And I knew in this dapping dish that I had a few golden shadow that I used a few sets ago. And so I just separated those out for this. So that's what you saw me doing. And you guys, this is it. As soon as I glue these crystals on and put on some cuticle oil, this is the set. Happy Thursday. I'll see you guys Sunday. But this is it. Thank you for being here. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for watching. And I will see you guys next time, okay? I don't think I have anything else to say. I don't think there's anything else coming up here. Yeah, all right. See you guys next time. Bye.